Okay, so our final presenter for this session is Angela Kirkwood. Angela farms in East Yorkshire and plays an active role within all areas of a field-to-fork pig farming enterprise. A diverse business with arable land, a feed mill, farrow-to-finish pigs, renewable energy, and a butcher's shop. When Angela steps out of her overalls, she spends much of her spare time supporting the work of the NFU. As county chairman of the north of the York East region, her practical knowledge is put to good use when talking to MPs and trying to steer positive change within the agricultural industry. When Angela attends farmers' markets with a butcher's business, East Riding Country Pork, good plug there, it gives her great opportunities to tell her farming story whilst understanding the real issues concerning her customers. It also gives a great satisfaction when customers return week on week with compliments about producing amazing tasting pork. Angela's topic, growing the British pig industry. Please welcome our third presenter.
I am a farmer, a proud British pig farmer, producing not only food, but many everyday items, including heart valves, many medical supplies, ammunition, toothpaste, paintbrushes, and fine bone china. That's because pigs are amazing. So, why in the UK do we import 48% of what we consume? Why has our industry more than halved over recent years? It's simple. We've been burdened with over-regulation, increasing costs of production, and an influx of cheap imported meat produced to standards lower than that legally allowed in the UK. Believe it or not, pig farmers themselves are becoming a rare breed. So what is the future? How do we transform our industry to leave a legacy for future generations? These were the thoughts that prompted my Nuffield study, Growing the British Pig Industry, kindly sponsored by AHDB Pork. I thought of myself as a pretty savvy traveller, having spent the last 10 years touring wineries around the world in a bid to try and find my favourite bottle of red wine. But Nuffield challenged me. As I set off on my big trip, I received notification that there was an extremely powerful typhoon ripping through Hong Kong and southern China, and I was heading towards the eye of the storm. When I landed in Hong Kong, there was travel chaos, as trees had fallen across the road, and there was a trail of destruction. I had just 4 hours to make my way across the Chinese border and meet my host on a connecting train. I was near to tears when a Chinese lady, stuck a sticker on my arm with my final destination written in Chinese, and she pointed me in the direction of a taxi rank. I sat there for an hour, and then I was collected, sat in the front with about 6 other guys in the back, and we went to the Chinese border point, and I was told that somebody will meet me on the other side. So I grabbed my bag, went straight through, and sure enough, a little man did meet me on the other side. He grabbed my bag, shimmied across the car park, got me in his car, locked the doors, and demanded I emptied my purse. I had been hijacked. So I took a breath. I negotiated. I gave him half of my available wealth. And he dropped me off in the middle of a 5-lane motorway, luckily not too far from the train station. So this taught me a lesson. Everything always works out in the end, but it is up to me to make those changes. My Nuffield study has left me feeling extremely positive about the future of agriculture, farming, and the pig industry. I mean, we do something amazing. We produce food. Pork is the most widely consumed meat protein in the world, and the global population is booming. I've been led to believe that even if consumption per person decreases, because of population growth, actually total consumption will increase. So, as an industry, how do we position ourselves to meet this growing demand? At this point, I do want to highlight a major threat to the UK pig industry, and that is African swine fever. This is not a risk to human health. However, it can cause 100% mortality to pigs. When I visited China this time last year, it was reported that there were more than 35 million breeding sows, and they now state that this has more than halved due to African swine fever, potentially causing a global shortage in pig meat. To put that into context, currently in the UK, we have in the region of 400,000 sows. We urgently need awareness and education to prevent infected meat from entering the UK. We must protect the UK pig herd. The UK industry is unique in that we have two commercial production systems, indoor and outdoor. And this puts us in a brilliant position to produce food at every price point. There really is need for food at both the value and premium ends of the market. And at 52% self-sufficiency in the UK, we have a huge opportunity to offset our imported bacon, gammon, and charcuterie, and target some of the growth markets such as the food service sector and processed food sectors. But the domestic growth must be supported by clear national British branding, as highlighted here with the Great Campaign. Consumers also need clear reasons as to why they should support British. Food safety, assurance schemes, traceability, load food miles, improving environmental impact, to name just a few. Every country I visited during my Nuffield study recognised the importance of agriculture to deliver a buoyant and stable economy. Those markets with growing economies were supported by clear and simple strategic aims. So I came back to the UK and I asked the UK pig producers, what is the aim of UK pork production? And I was given a range of different answers, which made me think that we have no clear objectives for UK agriculture. We lack strategic direction. I went to the US in May of this year, as their cost of production is a lot lower than that of the UK. And it was clear, they focus on efficiency. And it's made me realise that our industry too should focus on efficiency to improve our costs of production and our ability to produce affordable food. The environment. It surprises me that I'm standing before you to quote China's strategy for speed and scale of investment to make environmental improvements. It was their strategic aim to produce food to feed the world. It had initially been driven by a 5-year investment initiative called the Belt and Road Initiative. So there are now trading routes that hit every growing population on the globe. There is a rail line that runs from London to Beijing. The second phase of their strategy is to improve key industries, technology being one and agriculture another. They are modernising their industries using the 5-year Global Outreach Initiative. So they are trying to modernise, improve efficiency and achieve environmental best practice. The UK too should strive for environmental best practice. The industry should work together to measure, monitor and improve without the need for burdensome legislation, as seen in the Netherlands. Now in the Netherlands, their industry is expected to dramatically fall in the coming years, as environmental legislation has almost stalled investment. For us, consideration must be given to create an industry that will also adapt to extreme weather occurrences that are happening more and more often. The Irish industry, they championed next generation farming, empowering new entrants with education, support and mentoring schemes. And here I am with Vino in the Philippines at the launch of an urban-based innovation hub. It was a whole supply chain collaboration to educate consumers and future employees about modern commercial agriculture. In the UK, we do have a shortage of specialist pig accommodation, which is giving massive opportunities for new entrants to form partnership agreements with processors, as vertical integration is a global trend. And with the loss of direct support payments, a diversification into pig keeping makes economic sense. Finally, UK government and policymakers must recognise that a healthy, progressive agricultural industry is essential for UK economic growth and prosperity. Cumbersome legislation slows investment, increases cost of production, and slows environmental improvement, impacting our global competitiveness. Fundamentally, it increases costs of production. So I plea that future UK domestic agricultural policy must not stifle investment. Instead, it should lead with strategic direction, focused on producing affordable food, promote a fair income for farmers, and improve the environmental impact of farming. Modernisation and investment is required. Business prosperity, tax incentives, and grant aid is urgently needed for us to create an industry that is fit to grow. Thank you very much.